2025. The title is Freddie the Beagle is Fine, but the man who kicked him was arrested and deported.
Without objection.
Okay, and thank you for your testimony, Mr. Raskin.
Thank you, Ms. Scanlon. Ms. Houchin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do not have any questions, but would like to once again go back to Congressman Schmidt to see if there's any additional things that you might like to add in response to anything that has been brought up in this debate.
Thank you, Representative. And I might just add that my friend Mr. Raskin and I share a fidelity to the founders. We sometimes see the history a little bit differently, but that's the nature of a wonderful and diverse country. But I would suggest to the committee that our founders also never contemplated a circumstance where a federal administration would functionally look the other way for 4 years and allow 8, 9, 10, or more million people to illegally enter our country in violation of our laws. That is 3 times the population of my state, and that's just the ones we've been able to count. Our founders never would have contemplated that we would have a government so big that we would have a large number of people who would look at fraud on publicly funded programs to the tune of billions and billions of dollars and suggest that is not a serious problem that we need to deal with. And the founders certainly would not have contemplated that those 2 issues might have come together, where people who were never supposed to be in this country in the first place are allowed to come here, to stay here, to defraud the taxpayers while here, and then at least in some cases, not all, but in some cases, I would argue game the system to stall on their way out. If the committee is interested, I can share particulars, but there are many examples of cases where individuals have admitted to the conduct that this Congress has determined should get them kicked out of the country, and yet they stay here for years on end while gaming the criminal justice system. Those are the loopholes these bills are both designed to fix.
Thank you. And if you could touch on, you mentioned the amount of millions of people who were allowed in the country under the Biden administration with open border policies from the Democrat Party and Democrat representatives. Many of those were also on the terror watch list. As many as 10 to 12,000 individuals allowed into the country under the Biden administration were known terrorists or known to have ties to terrorism. Could you comment on the importance of these bills from an enforcement perspective, but also under the current circumstances, we have the Department of Homeland Security that is currently being unfunded by the U.S. Senate. And could you just make a comment on how that makes American citizens at greater risk when the Democrats don't want to fund the Department of Homeland Security?
Well, Representative, in my view at least, this is certainly not the time to have the Department of Homeland Security, which was created in response to the worst terror attack on our soil on 9/11, to be hobbled by being either not funded or sporadically funded or imperfectly funded or late funded or however you want to view it. And it's somewhat puzzling to me that the political fight seems to be about the immigration enforcement agencies, which are in fact funded, while the other agencies are not in fact funded. TSA, for example, I flew in this morning and it was weather, I suppose, not funding, although I actually don't know, but it took me 3 different tries, but I got here. I got here in time for our hearing today. So it's just time to put this thing to rest and get the department funded.
Thank you. I appreciate your work on this legislation. And Madam Chairman, I yield back.
Madam Chair? Yes. Maybe recognize for 1 minute. I just want to point out for the record that our founders were themselves undocumented immigrants who wanted to fill this land with ambitious, restless immigrants. There was no immigration law when they wrote the Constitution. And I don't think our founders could have possibly imagined a Congress that would turn its back on its constitutional responsibility when it came to war. I mean, and that is what's happening right now with this Congress. So cowardly that we won't even debate and vote on whether to authorize the use of military force when it comes to Iran. So when you talk about what our founders could ever imagine, I don't think they could have ever imagined that we would get to this point. And quite frankly, it's unconscionable. I thank the gentlelady. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. we can sit here for a long time and speculate what the founders thought, but Mr. Jefferson did go after the Somali pirates, and he didn't bother to ask for congressional approval. So I think I got ahead of, oh my goodness, I have awakened Mr. Griffith here. He is going to speak.
Madam Chairman, would you yield?
I should never speak about Mr. Jefferson when Mr. Griffith is in the room. Mr. Griffith, would you like to be recognized?
Yes, if the gentlelady would yield. I just wanted to make sure we corrected the record. The gentlelady misspoke and said that Jefferson went after the Somali pirates, when in fact they went after the pirates of Tripoli and the North African.
Oh, sorry. Tripoli and North Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. Gentlemen, I see no further persons wishing to ask you any questions or comments. So we appreciate you coming in today, and